This is Jarrod Horak for the RunawayHorse.com, and I'm back to look at my second Breeders' Cup race on these Breeders' Cup preview videos. Just a few minutes ago, I finished shooting my video for the distaff. You can watch that now, and I'm also now going to do the Breeders' Cup Classic. So right now, there look like there are 13 horses that are possible for the Breeders' Cup Classic. So we'll go through each horse and see if I think they have a chance or not. A Title Ready would be a big long shot if he ends up going here for trainer Dallas Stewart. This one's a son of More Than Ready. He was third in the Fayette Stakes at Keeneland last time out. So he's run well at Keeneland prior to that as well. So Title Ready, coming off of an okay effort at Keeneland, but against lesser company. He's never shown the ability to be grade 1 quality at a mile and a quarter in the handicap division. We'll have to see how he does. But Dallas Stewart, over the years, he has been dangerous, at least with horses hitting the board in these bigger races. We've seen him do that in some Triple Crown Series races. So Title Ready, as a big long shot, maybe if you were playing a superfecta, could throw in fourth or something like that if he does run. But it would be a big surprise if he won this race. Midcourt for trainer John Sheriffs. This one's a son of Midnight Loot. He would be shipping in from the West Coast. He was third in the Awesome Again Stakes last time out. I've always liked Midcourt. I've won on him a few times. He's one that if he can get out there and control the pace against lesser company, more like a grade 2, grade 3 type, he can be dangerous. But when he doesn't get out there and control the pace, he's usually up against it, especially at a mile and a quarter. I never thought he was really a mile and a quarter horse. But under the right circumstances, a horse like Midcourt can win a graded race. I just don't think these are those circumstances. Swiss Skydiver, I mentioned her in my distaff video. She's more likely for that race. She's had an outstanding campaign, taking on 3-year-old males 2 times in the Bluegrass Stakes at Keeneland, where she finished second behind Art Collector, and then in the Preakness Stakes last time out, when she upset Kentucky Derby winner Authentic, and then she also turned the tables on Art Collector in that race. So Swiss Skydiver ran an outstanding race in the Preakness Stakes. Got a great ride from Robbie Alvarado. She's been good all year. She can be up on the pace. This is a much tougher spot than the distaff. If you look at those fields, she would be facing some really heavy hitters in this race. And I think they're leaning towards the distaff right now. And maybe if one or two of the bigger names would opt out of this race, maybe they'll go here. But I think they're going to go in the distaff. And either way, like, she deserves a lot of respect, and she's had an outstanding campaign this year. She's in the running for Horse of the Year. The next one we'll talk about is Happy Saver for trainer Todd Pletcher. This is a 3-year-old that's lightly raced and on the improve, and he upset Tacitus in the Jockey Club Gold Cup last time out when Tacitus was the controlling speed. But Happy Saver has good tactical speed, and he was able to sit a good trip, and he was just able to outfinish that one and get the job done. So that was a nice effort last time out in the Jockey Club Gold Cup, but this is a much better field. Tacitus is a decent older horse, but he's not one of the top echelon of the older horses, and Happy Saver would have to step it up again. Now, certainly lightly raced, on the improve, excellent pedigree. He has every right to improve again, but he is going to have to improve again if he's going to beat this kind of field. Higher Power is one for trainer John Sheriffs. Medaglia d'Oro is the sire. For John Sadler is the trainer. Medaglia d'Oro is the sire. He was 4th in the Pacific Classic last time. He was in better form last year when he won the Pacific Classic, and he was 3rd in the Breeders' Cup Classic. Now, he's got some versatile running style. He can track the pace. He can come from a bit further out of it. So Higher Power's one on his best day. I think he can hit the board in the Classic, but right now he just doesn't seem to be on top of his game. A Global Campaign, he's another one coming in here with some speed. He was first in the Grade 1 Woodward when he got out to the front and controlled the pace, and he was able to beat Tacitus that day. That's a common theme for Tacitus. He seems to finish in the money in a lot of these stakes races. He just doesn't quite get over the hump. But Global Campaign was able to get out there, control the pace in the Woodward, and just keep on going. And that was at this mile and a quarter distance. So he's a son of Curlin, and he does have a good combination of speed and stamina, but he's going to face better speed horses. Horses like Maximum Security could be up there, Swiss Skydiver if she goes, Tis the Law, Authentic. We're going to talk about all those horses. They all have speed, they have quality speed, and I don't think they're just going to let Global Campaign just go out there and steal this one. Tacitus, I talked about that one. Even as a 3-year-old last year, he's very consistent. He just goes out there and he tries hard. He just doesn't typically come out on top. He looked good in the Suburban at Belmont, running away with that one earlier this year. And then in back-to-back Grade 1 races at a mile and a quarter, a weak company, shorter fields, and he just wasn't able to get over the hump. If he was ever going to win a Grade 1 race, it should have occurred in the Woodward at Saratoga or the Jockey Club Gold Cup last time. As I mentioned in the Woodward, Global Campaign controlled the pace. So that maybe that was an excuse for Tacitus. But then coming back in the Jockey Club Gold Cup, he controlled the pace and he wasn't able to get the job done. He's one, they've tried putting blinkers on, blinkers off. It just seems like if you look at his overall body of work, he seems best as a late runner. When he wasn't wearing blinkers and he was a late runner last year, he was running a lot of quality races, and then he wasn't getting over the hump, and they thought, well, maybe if we put blinkers on, we can get him involved earlier. And then ever since then, he just seems to have lacked a running style. Like, he doesn't have a specific running style anymore, and Tacitus, I think, is best if they just would just sit back, let him make a run. In a race like the Classic, I wouldn't be shocked if he finished somewhere in the money, but I would definitely be surprised if he won it. By my standards, he's been a quality horse this year for trainer Brett Calhoun, coming off a nice win in the Ali Sheba Stakes at Churchill Downs. It's a Grade 2. He's got good tactical speed. This one's the son of Golden Sense. He's run a lot of quality races at 1 1/8, and now he's going to be stalking the pace here. This is obviously going to be his toughest test ever at 1 1/4 against this kind of company. He's going to need to step it up, but he's in good form. Now, Authentic, your Kentucky Derby winner this year for trainer Bob Baffert. He was second in the Preakness. He lost nothing there. He ran a good race throughout. He was up on moderate fractions, and he was able to just hang in there throughout, but Swiss Skydiver just outfinished him that day. So he was clearly second best in that race, a good effort. Now, I've always thought in races at the distance of around 1 1/4 for a horse like Authentic, he really needs to get out there and control the pace. He was able to do that in the Haskell Stakes, and he just held on at 1 1/8. He was able to do that in the Kentucky Derby, and he just held off Tisdalal that day. That was a nice effort. And then last time in the Preakness, not a fast pace, but he wasn't able to get out there and control it. 1,000 Words was out there early, and then right after he got past 1,000 Words, a Swiss Skydiver took him on. So that's the key to a horse like Authentic. If you can take him on early like that, he's not going to probably be able to outkick you in a race like at 1 1/4. So if Authentic can get out there and control the pace, he's capable in the Classic, but I don't think that he's going to be able to do that in this race. Improbable is his stablemate, his older stablemate, and he struggled in races 1 1/8, 1 1/4 as a 3-year-old, but he's much more mature this year. He's been able to go the 1 1/4 distance, and then last time in the Awesome Again, he sat patiently behind fast fractions, and he just steamrolled that field. I'll say Improbable is in excellent form right now. He's much more mature as a 4-year-old. That's exactly what you want to see. So he's definitely improved from age 3 to 4, and he's proven that he can go 1 1/8 and 1 1/4 this year. And Improbable's been a good horse ever since Bob Baffert unveiled him as a 2-year-old. And he's one that is certainly a big win threat. He could end up being the favorite in the Classic. Tom's d'Etat, he's been an overachiever, a 7-year-old, son of Smart Strike. Al Stahl Jr.'s the trainer. He was 3rd in the Whitney last time out. Now, Tom's d'Etat, he's run a lot of good races in the handicap division, but this is obviously going to be a tough spot. This is a deep edition of the Classic, and he's one that'll probably be coming from a bit off the pace in this race. He's fresh enough, so he hasn't run since the Whitney at Saratoga, and I wouldn't be surprised if he ran a good race. He's one you probably have to consider somewhere in the top 3, but I'm not sure if he can step up and beat a field like this. But if he was 10 or 12 to 1 or higher, maybe it's worth a little bit of a flyer, because he does have a lot of ability. Maximum Security, another one for trainer Bob Baffert. He was 2nd in the Awesome Again last time. I mentioned the Awesome Again, in which Improbable was able to sit behind and loop the field and just blow him away. Maximum Security was 2nd in that race. He was able to outfinish Midcourt for 2nd. And Maximum Security just hasn't been as good since he's gotten back from the desert, moved to the Bob Baffert barn. He did just beat Midcourt in the San Diego at Del Mar, and then he was able to control the pace in the Pacific Classic, and he won that one. And then in the Awesome Again, he was part of the pace, but he wasn't able to shake loose from the others, and then Improbable just ran right by him. So now he's looking at his overall body of work. Maximum Security has a lot of class. He's won a lot of races. He's got good early pressing versatility. On his best day, he can win a race like the Classic, and his last workout was pretty good. He's not a strong workhorse, but he had a good workout recently. So Maximum Security seems to be heading into the race in good order, and he's capable of winning it on his best day, but he's really going to have to bounce back to his best form. He's going to have to run much better than he did in the Awesome again. He's going to need to find that Pacific Classic form and then some, probably, to beat this field. And then finally, Tiz the Law. Probably your best 3-year-old male in the country. He's only lost once this year, and that was in the Kentucky Derby. And I did videos about the Kentucky Derby, the aftermath. I talked about how the pace was moderate that day. Authentic was able to get out there and control that pace. Tiz the Law made a run at him in the stretch, but Authentic still had plenty left because of those moderate fractions, and he kicked away, and Tiz the Law was second best in the Kentucky Derby. And then they did not run in the Preakness. If you look at his overall form this year, and even going last year as a 2-year-old, they like to give him a lot of time between starts, and he did, and between the Travers and then the Kentucky Derby, back-to-back mile-and-a-quarter races of 4 weeks apart. He just couldn't duplicate that form in the Derby because his Travers speed figure was outstanding. He looked great visually. And if he runs the kind of race that he did in the Travers, he can certainly win the Breeders' Cup Classic. So I think Tiz the Law is definitely, I think, the horse to beat, probably even in the Classic. All that time between starts, if he runs back to his Travers, grade 1 win at a mile-and-a-quarter, earning a strong speed figure, he's right there with any horse in the country, and he's more than capable of winning at Keeneland this year. They took him to Keeneland early, so there are a lot of signs for Tiz the Law. He's looked much more energetic in his recent workouts, where he didn't have that energy after the Derby. So it looks like Tiz the Law is poised to bounce back and run a big race. I've never been a huge fan of Tiz the Law. I haven't picked him on top of in any of his races this year, but I think that he definitely is a strong win threat in the Breeders' Cup Classic. So I think obviously Improbable could certainly win the Classic. Maximum Security on his best day can beat a field like this. If you're looking for long shots, Tom's d'Etat, he's an older horse with he just tries hard every single time, and I think that at 12 to 1 or higher, like I said, if Tom's d'Etat is that kind of price, you might want to throw a flyer on him. But I think Maximum Security, Improbable, and Tiz the Law are certainly the horses to beat as I'm looking at the field at this stage. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel, make some comments in the comment section. Who are you liking right now for the 2020 Breeders' Cup Classic? Head over to therunawayhorse.com if you're interested in free stakes picks from Belmont Park and from Santa Anita Park. You can find those on the California and New York pages. I also have a Kentucky Derby 2021 page, which I'll be putting out my Kentucky Derby blogs very shortly, starting my 2021 blogs. I've already started my video series there, and I'll be covering the Breeders' Cup Juvenile as well for that series. So that'll wrap it up for this week, and I'll be back next week, and I'll be talking about some more Breeders' Cup preview videos for some of the other Breeders' Cup races. Until then, good luck at the races.